Yo, what's up, Chaos TV family? What's up, Chaos TV Network? It's your Chaos Leader, Chaos Hero, and I'm back again with another deck refresh. Jumping out the Chaos, and this deck refresh is going to be on Cyber Dragons. This is an archetype that I've loved for many times over, along with other machine archetypes. My apologies. And it's probably one of the top 10. Top 10, top 5 machine decks archetypes or machine decks that I like. If you want to, quick side note, if you want to know what my top 10 favorite machine archetypes are, leave down in the comment section, like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell while you're at it for notifications just to see if I do upload it or not. Other than that, like I said, let's get into the deck profile. In short, basically, Cyber Dragons is an all-machine archetype, light-based as far as things are concerned in the main deck. It's a mixed bag of dark and lights in the extra deck with a lot of power hitting. It's mainly prioritized as a machine beatdown deck that can now, currently in this current format, can somewhat put up its own against a little bit of some of the more recent stuff that's coming out. Now, will I say this deck profile itself is like meta tier? Will I say you go rogue with this without Galaxy or Photons or Galaxy Ciphers? You probably won't. I already know about the Galaxy combo with Cyber Dragons. Yes, I get it. You know, there's a lot of stuff, but this is for the pure archetype. If you want competitive builds with added stuff, like I tell everyone before, and I need people to actually open their ears and listen, this is for people just to draw them into the game, not the competitive meta. Note the difference of what I'm telling you. Please understand that and just enjoy the game for what it is. That's what I'm bringing this channel in here for. If you want competitive builds constantly, you can either check out my boy Yafuna or Prey Mark 9's channel, which we do collab on this channel all together. It's just I'm the main head branch of this channel, and everybody puts on their stuff when they want to. Like I said, let's get into the deck profile, and let's just see what this deck looks as a whole. And whatever you guys want to add into it, it's up to you. It's your deck. You spend whatever time and money you want to on it. It's up to you. Let's get into it, you guys. So as far as main deck monsters we got going on over here is we have one copy of Cyber Forest, Feos, or Horus. Yeah, Cyber Horus. And basically what Cyber Horus is, he's a level 1 light attributed machine type monster. His effect is you can special summon him by tributing one machine monster. It can be any machine monster for that matter. And special summon it. And that's the reason why it has like 0 attack and 21 defense, because you special summon up in Deef. Basically, essentially, he's essentially your Melodious opera. He basically, or I guess Fight for Owl minus the cost payment. You just fusion summon. He's just made there to be a spare fusion summon if you haven't gotten into your cyber load fusions or your power bonds. My bad. I just drew a blank there. But more or so, that's often you play him at 1. In my opinion, in this deck, I play him at 1 because I rarely get into him, but when I do, he does come in clutch. And that's basically where he's been sitting for a while, at 1 in the deck. So you're just going to put that to the side. 3 ofs, we have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Hertz is an amazing card. It's great for what it does. When it's normal or special summon, well, when it's special summoned, it's a level extender. Basically, if you need another level 5 just to get into that quick Nova to infinity, he's there. If you can special summon him, you can do so easily with the Cyber Rev system as well if he's in the graveyard. So that's also another idea. His second ability lets you get hand recursion, which is also good if you're playing Cyber Network and you just send him to the grave. Well, not Cyber Network banishes, my apologies. If you use Rampage, you can send him to the grave, and it just gives you hand recursion by adding a Cyber Dragon from your graveyard to your hand. But yeah, 3 of him is necessary for this archetype. Last time I checked, he was like $9 a copy, but I managed to get these 3 at like a very, very cheap deal from a friend of mine. This one I actually got from a booster set. The other two I paid like $2 for. So that was a pretty sweet deal. But I don't know if the price dropped on them or went up on them. But yeah. Main that came into the box set that the the redesigned Cyber Dragons came in. Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is basically your combo starter if you have the right hand for it. If you have Power Bond in hand, along with Rev System and also Cyber Emergency or even Cyber Overload, this is the perfect card to start off your combo extender. Also, on a side note, both Hertz and Core are machine dupe targets because they are level 400 and below, especially with Cyber Hertz, which is 100, which is perfect for that threshold. You can easily play with this card. This card is treated as Cyber Dragon when it is on the field. On top of that, you can actually add a cyber card from your deck to your hand. So this thing searches out everything Cyber Dragon orientated just as long as it has cyber on the front of the text. Not in the card text, on its card's name. So that means cards like Cyber Emergency, Cyber Load, Cyber Overload Fusion, Cyber Network, you name it. Hell, even the generic non-usable Cyber Dragon cards that just seem to be happening. You can search monsters, spells, doesn't matter. Just as long as it's something with cybers in the name, I mean cyber, not cybers, in the name, you can search it. That's what makes this card so awesome to me. And it's a must-have. It is a must-have. If you start building Cyber Dragons, this is the first card you need to get. Last time I checked, when I first built this deck, this card was like 19 cents a pop, close to 119 when it first dropped out. But I think it's like probably a cents card now, like 25 cents, or probably cheaper than that. I think that's the lowest it'll probably go, is like 25 cents. But yeah, Cyber Dragon Core, it's a great card. It really is, especially for combo starters. For combo extensions, in my opinion, Veer is a good combo extender if your opponent does not chain to its effect. It goes perfectly in tandem with any special summon or normal summon of a Cyber Dragon card. As soon as you play like Hertz, Core, Dry, it works. And it really does. Even OG Cyber Dragon, it works. The only thing is, unfortunately, the way you can combo with it, it triggers a chain. And your opponent does have that opportunity to, let's say, for example, if I play one copy of Dry on first turn, I activate Dry's effect. If Veer is in my hand, I can chain Veer's effect. But here's the thing. On summon, my opponent probably knows what I'm playing. If I'm playing that and I'm playing pure Cyber Dragons, I know I'm not playing any Galaxy Eyes or Photon Warriors in this deck. So you got to know that that player's having a Veer in his hand if he's playing straight pure. And at that point, before he says a chain, you're going to at least do something to stop that Ash Blossom it. Not Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler Veer, to where by the time this thing comes out on board, you can't do anything. But it doesn't discourage you, because it shouldn't, even though people still run traps in this format that, get rid of special summon monsters anyways. But like I said, that's usually the combo normally and that's a big if, because we know your opponent's going to stop you. You basically play Dry, activate Dry's effect. When Dry's effect is activated, you chain Veer, special summon Veer, and they become both level 5. Do not, and I've made this mistake several times, do not misplay that. It's all about timing when it comes to that combo with Veer and Dry. But yeah, 3 copies of Veer, like I said before. So yeah, it's a decent card. It's not great, it's not amazing, but it's a decent card. Like I said before, 3 copies of Dry, because Dry is your quick fix way to get into Infinity. In my opinion, if you can't, then you could do other plays with it. It just all depends. Also, he's also a banished protection, especially when it comes to Cyber Network. As long as he's banished from anywhere, you can target a Cyber Dragon monster on the field, and it cannot be destroyed by, I believe, card effects or by battle. Hold on, focus in there. Focus in. Come on, you stupid camera. Come on. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. this turn. So, like I said, Cyber Network, yeah, it works in tandem with, it works together, my bad, with Dry. So, that's a good card. And last but not least, well, last for the monsters, OG Cyber Dragons. And you see, I had to pull out my special holographic copies because when I got the structure deck, 3 copies of the structure deck that came out back in 2000, I think 18 or 19, when they re-released the Cyber Dragon deck itself, I ended up getting the Cyber Dragons, but they weren't the holographic ones, which was kind of strange. But the extra deck monsters were the holographic ones instead, along with the Cyber Repair Plant, strangely enough. But I pulled out my old copies of the holographic Cyber Dragon. You know him, you love him, but if you don't know who Cyber Dragon is, I'll give it to you straight. He is a, come on, focus there. Come on, you can do it. Come on. What is going on with this camera? Oh, there we go. There we go. Because it was having a problem focusing. And I don't like stuff not focusing. Oh, too bright. Too bright. There we go. My apologies, everybody. But his effect is when you have no monsters on the field, you can special summon them. As long as your opponent has a monster or more monsters on the field, you can special summon them, which is a very, very, very useful effect for Cyber Dragons, which was pretty good back in the day. Also, he is a machine dupe target because you chain this, and that's why, of course, he's a machine dupe target. Duh, why am I saying that? But yeah, he's a 2100 attack monster, and basically that's about it. That's his only main effect is you can just special summon out of the hand if your opponent has a monster. And this, with him in the hand, it's never wrong, but it's never right to have a turn 1 or turn 2 hand with Cyber Dragons. And that's what I liked about this machine deck. It was pretty cool. All right, as far as traps are concerned, we run 2 copies of Drowning and 2 copies of Storming still. I might take out a copy of Storming and replace it with Drowning. I don't know. I'm not sure. But right now, so far, this is the even trade-off with it because I did run 3 copies of Drowning and 1 copy of Storming. And at one point, I ran 3 copies of Storming and 1 copy of Drowning. And I just said, forget it. I'm just going to run 2 each. I still somehow managed to draw into them perfectly well, actually, at this number, especially with traps. 1 copy of Cyber Network. You can search this thing out with, like I said, Cyber Dragon Core, and also, you don't need 3 copies of this card. You really don't need 3 copies of this card. This card at 1 is perfectly fine. Then on top of that, if your opponent believes that you're running 3, like normal people that would normally run it pure, he might think you're a noob and he thinks you're probably running it at 3. He'll just try to waste a back row killer on it, like Twin Twister MST, which honestly does screw this card over. But if you already got monsters in the banish pile, I'm pretty sure that it getting destroyed automatically triggers its other effect. But it's more of a mid-game kind of trap. Honestly, if you want to replace this card with anything, because a lot of people target this back row, target with a Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning, at best. Probably another copy of Power Bond, Cyberload Fusion. I don't know what to tell you because I'm actually content with this 1 copy of Cyber Network in my deck. This 1 copy. Basically, what Cyber Network does is you flip it over once per turn. It has the Swords of Revealing Light clause with the first effect, where it's a 3-turn counter. You have 3 turns, and on the 3rd turn, after the turn actually ends, it's destroyed. Once it's destroyed, it basically special summons all light machine monsters that you control back to the main monster zones in any position that you want to, but all their effects are negated. So, like I said, it's a really good card. It's just the build-up for it is a little power creepish. And what I mean by power creep is basically it slowly builds up momentum over time. But by that time, there's so many extenders and combos in this pure Dark-type as it is, to where this is a rare occurrence where you will need it. Except for cannon fodder. Moving on to other traps. My apologies for taking so long. Cybernetic Overload. I keep calling it Cyber Overload for some reason, but it's Cybernetic Overload. Basically, this is your staple back row killer. If you're wondering why I don't play a lot of MSTs and stuff and Twin Twisters, this card right here is your basic back row killer. Unfortunately, this card requires you to actually control Cyber Dragons, I believe, on the field, and as well as its effect to trigger the cost for its effect. I believe the effect is it is to banish Cyber Dragons, plural, meaning more than one. You have an option for more than one, with different levels from your hands, face up on the field and or graveyard. This is where, like I said, Cyber Dragon Dry comes in handy with that. Also, as well, it sets up Cyber Load Fusion, so it's just free cannon fodder if you use this. Then destroy an equal number of your opponent's, destroy the equal number of cards your opponent controls. If this card on the field is destroyed by card effect and adds by a card effect, add one Cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use this use the effect of Cybernetic Overflow once per turn. So in short, basically what it's telling you, what it basically asks you to do is anything in your hand, deck, or grave, or on the anything in your hand, field, or grave, you can pitch to the banish zone. It's a perfect way to set up Overload Fusion. Cyber Load Fusion, as well as Overload Fusion. Oh no, actually, just Cyber Load Fusion. My bad, not Overload Fusion. And it works. So you can get Chimera Tech Over Dragon and or Rampage out probably turn 2 or 1. And if you want to, you can take out, I guess, one copy of this and add a second copy of Cyber Network. And that way you can use that combo, in my opinion. It's not a big brain combo, but it's something cool and interesting if you want to, duel your friends. Like I said, in casual, not locals. You could probably take this to locals and do something, but I ain't gonna guarantee big brain plays making it to at least tier 2 in the locals, me personally. But it has a good effect when it gets destroyed by a card effect or face down and it gets sent to the graveyard. It just allows you to recover and capture stuff in your hand. And like I said, hand recursions. It does good for hand recursions. You can't have a machine deck with you can't have a machine deck without the staple machine spell card in most, not all, most machine decks. Machine duplication. And as you can see, oh shoot, my bad. My apologies. And as you can see, your boy, like I said before, had to pull out the hollies. I had to pull out the hollies because your boy had to stunt real quick, pull out the hollies out of my little binder. I still have the regular machine dupes, but they're off in other decks right now. Unfortunately, I know people get mad when I do this. I'm playing 2 Power Bond because this deck already has so many ways to fusion summon. It's not funny. But Power Bond, if you just want to end your opponent's life and you have the chance to do so and just go for that straight OTK beatdown, then this is the perfect card at 2, or this is the perfect card at 3. But me personally, I don't feel like drawing into it because there are several times where I've had this card at 3 when I first built the deck. I've bricked into this card, and I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have. But other than that, like I said, this is a good card nonetheless. I play it at 2. You can play it at 3 if you want to. You can take, I guess, the one copy of Cyber Network out. It's up to you. I mean, really personally, I'm not to be mean, but I don't care. And for the Banish Fusion access, a lot of people go for Cyber Overload Fusion, but this card right here rebuilds, it's deck recursion. It is a fusion spell that has deck recursion. It takes all the fusion spells, like say if you have half the deck of your Cyber Dragons or Cyber, like anything, in the Banish Zone, and you already use Cyber Network, you got all the monsters you need on the field, but you want to go for that, big brain play to make sure your board is locked down. You can take the rest of the cards that are face up in the Banish Zone, smack this quick play down. The only downside is, apparently, I think you can't attack with the monsters you have on the field except for the monster that you fusion summoned. With this card, I think, hold on, let me read this. I'm sorry, I gotta apologize to y'all. Cyber Load Fusion, it is a quick play spell card. Fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists Cyber Dragon in its name as a material. By shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck from among your cards on the field and or face up in the banish pile. But monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn except for the fusion and summon monster. You can only activate the effect of Cyberload Fusion once per turn. So yeah, it just restricts you to attacking with one monster that you fusion summoned, unfortunately. But other than that, it's not a huge drawback, I think. I really don't think it is. It's just if you have this is more of a last-ditch effort card. And me personally, this card at 1 seems a lot more necessary. So I would say run 1 copy of this and replace this other copy with like an extra power bond, I guess. Or just add another cyber network and replace this. And just keep the 1 copy because this is just basically like Overload Fusion in a way. But it does deck recursion instead of just depleting your resources and locking them into the banish zone where you can't get back into them. But yeah, 2 copies of Cyberload Fusion. They're interesting. It's good. It's a good deck. For another deck and hand recursion, Cyber Repair Plant is a must-have for this deck. If you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard, you can accidentally activate both of the effects. 2 of them things all day, every day. If you have if you have basically 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard. If you only have 1 or 2, unfortunately, you can only activate 1 of each effect. The 2 effects are as such and as read. Add 1 Light Machine monster from your deck to your hand, or target 1 Light Machine monster in your graveyard and shuffle it back into the deck. Again, that is deck recursion in a nutshell. And it is a must-have that you get this card at 3. It is a very sought-after card for people that actually are building or currently have built Cyber Dragons. And in my opinion, you can't go wrong without it. It's a must-have staple. Also, a must-have staple that just got reprinted in, I think, Secret Slayer, and is going to get reprinted again in the next set after Maximum Gold, from what I was told by my friend, Cyber Emergency. This card I've been waiting on. And when I got it in the Secret Slayer, I bought 3 copies when it first released. It's good. It searches out. This is one of the 3 searchers in the goddamn archetype. And it's amazing how this thing works. It's amazing. It facilitates so many combos that Cyber Dragons need. And for a while, I thought my Cyber Dragon deck was just outdated until somebody, I think it was my friend Preymark9, told me, do you have Cyber Emergency? I'm like, what is Cyber Emergency? And I seen the card. I'm like, I've seen this card before somewhere. It's like, yeah, that's their searcher. It's basically their searcher. And I'm like, oh, wow. And when I tried to get it, it was either 1, overpriced, or 2, sold out everywhere. And when it got reprinted in Secret Slayer, I was like, yes, thank you. Thank you. Somebody at Konami was listening. Somebody at Konami actually cares, because this card getting reprinted is a must-have. If you're building a Cyber Dragon deck, throughout all the cards in the deck profile, make sure you get 3 copies of this. Make specifically this. This, Cyber Repair Plants, Power Bond, you can find a dime a dozen anywhere. I mean, you're really not missing out on Power Bond. Let's be real here. But this and just Cyber Dragon Core, as well as Hertz and the rest of them, these are must-haves. These are must-haves. And also, it's good combo extender. For the last combo extender, it is going to be Cyber Rev System. This is technically a special summon card. It's basically in a way, basically a special summon and a Monster Reborn all in one. Because you can special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard. And it's amazing how this card works. And it's at 3. This is another must-have if you're going to build Cyber Dragons. You cannot build this deck without this card. You really can't. I mean, granted, you can use Monster Reborn and, call the Haunted as a substitute for a while. But if you're waiting on the 3 copies to get to you in the mail or in a store, but yeah, you're going to need, these are a must-have. Along with Cyber Emergency, this card is a must-have. It's definitely a must-have. It needs to be a must-have. now that we got the main deck out the way, let's get the extra deck out the way. Surprisingly, there's no side decking with this deck as pure as it is. But 2 copies of Seeger. Seeger is your generic Link beat stick. And grant you, I kind of agree with DP. It's a YouTuber I subscribe to. He's pretty cool. Cyber Dragons didn't need him, but he's good in the deck where he doesn't shoehorn his way in. He doesn't feel out of place. Even after this new master ruling, he's perfect for what he does. He's basically board presence if your opponent just stops dry from, level extending all Cyber Dragons on the field, so that way he locks you out of Infinity. Yeah, okay, you're screwed. But with this, it's like, okay, I can't do anything, but at least let me try to put a beat stick on the field. His effect is during the battle phase, exactly when the battle phase starts. Literally, and I quote, I think it's a quick effect. Yep. No. Yeah, it's quick effect. It basically buffs himself by 2100. You can target either him or a card that's underneath him and basically put that, specifically him, you can put him at 4200. But unfortunately, he can't deal damage to you. He still can attack and destroy a monster, but he can't deal damage once he activates his effect. But that's the whole thing. He's a decent beat stick if your opponent doesn't know what he does. But unfortunately, he's been out for so long to where, people actually know what he does. And yeah, like I said before, I had to break out the hollies. Look at them hollies. Yeah, the holograph. When I mean by holly, I mean holographics. So there you go. For the must-haves, 2 copies of Nova, 2 copies of Infinity. I only run 2 because there's more deck space in this deck that I can use. Honestly, if you want to, you can trim some deck fat, trim some fat off the extra deck and add 2 more copies to your play. In my opinion, that is a good idea. It's a great idea. It's a brilliant idea, by the way. My apologies for even saying it's a good idea. But yeah, 4 copies of him works perfectly. 2 copies of these 2 works perfectly, but you can run 3 of each and it still works just fine. That way you have backup options. But for this deck profile on my deck, I run 2. Like I said, this is a Cyber Dragon themed deck and it's for fun. I do like playing it. I do get hyped when I duel. It's just, if you want to, like I said, you build your Cyber Dragon decks however you want it, guys. This is just how I do mine. Okay? For One Loves, we have the OG Cyber Dragon. I have the OG original limited edition prints. Yep, I had to pull the holly out the binder. Yeah, y'all know I had to do it. Pull the holly out. It's the holographic limited edition. Look at that. Pretty. The OG original Shonen Jump print. Spared no expense on that one. I'm just joking with you. I got that out of Shonen Jump, dude. Cyber Dragon Eternity. I don't have him in this deck for any competitive purposes. Like I said, I just put him in here because it was Cyber Dragon. And to be honest with you, he's, in my opinion, he's very situational. He's just there. Honestly, if you want to, this is up to you. Please take him out. You do not have to put him in the extra deck. Put another Cyber Twin, Chimera Tech Rampage. Another Chimera Tech Rampage will be perfect. Doesn't matter. Heck, another Cyber End would be perfect. Or, like I said before, another Infinity or Nova. Doesn't matter. 1 copy of Twin, 1 copy of Chimera Tech, but like I said before, you can take out the Eternity and bump that up to a 2 copy of Chimera Tech Rampage. Over is still a good staple in this deck. Chimera Tech Over Dragon, Mega Amon Fleek Dragon, and Mega Fortress Dragon Chimera Tech are also main staples. Back when Links were a thing, and I still don't know why Seeger didn't come into the extra deck, even though Seeger was released 2 whole weeks before the structure deck when he was premiered in came out. But this, he was basically your go-to Link killer. He basically linked out anything that was a threat. He kaiju the link by fusing the monster that was put in the extra monster zone and him. That was the among other things, he was the other way you can get rid of Avermax, because if your opponent wasn't smart enough and put Avermax here, it's like, oh wow, that's a decent Avermax, and I don't play kaijus in my deck. Fusion, play a Cyber Dragon anywhere. Fusion. There you go. Avermax is gone. But nowadays, people actually play a lot smarter. For those of you that don't know, they really do big brain plays around that. But yeah, that's it for the deck profile for Cyber.